Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining this session on Gen AI use cases for financial services. I'm Rohit Verma. I'm a principal architect at Google Cloud, and I work with financial services organizations on their cloud journey. What I'll do over the next 10 to 15 minutes is walk you through some of the use cases of Gen AI, specifically in context of financial services. Almost all of these use cases are relevant for both traditional financial services organizations like banks and NBFCs, and also for the new age financial services organizations such as the fintechs, the lending fintechs, the neobanks, and so on. Now, just an important thing here that what you see on the screen is just a sample. This is not an exhaustive list. As you would have realized, Gen AI has a whole host of use cases that it can address. What I'm going to do is just walk through a very, very small sample of these use cases and illustrate how Gen AI is helping improve these processes and these outcomes for financial services. So I have broadly bucketed the use cases in four categories because when we have conversations with our customers, we realize that these are the four priorities that customers want us to solve for using Gen AI. And the four priorities are: one is how can they use Gen AI to improve customer experience? How can they use it for improving the growth of the business within the organization, to enhance the efficiencies in their processes and in their workflows and in their risk management systems? And finally, how to improve the security posture of the organization using AI capabilities. And let's go through some of these examples in a little detail. Now, when it comes to financial services, there is an increasing penetration of formal financial services in the underbanked sections of society. And this whole process of financial inclusion requires a customer experience that is very different from the customer experience that is given to an urban consumer. People in rural areas and semi-urban areas prefer to interact with their bank through the mobile and in voice and vernacular. What Gen AI is now able to do on the back of this capability around generating human-like text is it can enable banks and financial institutions to have virtual agents that are available 24/7 to have conversations with customers, and not just conversations like simple FAQs, but address even complex queries and surface relevant articles and insights to that customer based on his or her profile, and do all of it in vernacular, which is a language of choice for that each customer has selected. So you are no longer restricted to knowing one or two or three languages. Depending on the choice the customer makes, he or she can interact with the bank 24/7 for addressing their needs. The second interesting use case around Gen AI is summarization. So the example that you see on the screen is a very good example of how summarization capabilities of Gen AI can help improve the customer experience. Today, if you have to invest, if a customer wants to invest in some industry or in some investment option, he or she has to search articles, read articles, and understand the impact of various news items on their investment portfolio. But now, with the help of Gen AI, these insights can be derived by simply asking a question in as natural language as possible, and the AI capabilities can scan through various documents and surface a very summarized form of answering the customer's question. This kind of interaction significantly improves the engagement because now it makes the customer come again and again to the digital property of the financial services institution and engage in a much more deeper and personal level with that institution. So I spoke about customer experience. The other area that Gen AI can make a big difference is in improving the marketing outcomes. Okay, now, marketing technology has been around for a long time, and whether it's a bank or a fintech, every organization is leveraging marketing technology. They have data platforms, they're able to generate insights, and they are able to activate those insights through various channels. But what Gen AI will do is improve the entire process. Okay, so starting from data, Gen AI has the ability to extract insights not just from structured data, but also ingest unstructured data, such as research reports or personal emails or emails from the customer, and understand the assess the customer's propensity, and accordingly build a marketing campaign tailor made to the profile of the customer. So we are literally delivering, it has the ability to deliver hyper personalization or deliver bespoke campaigns based on each individual's profile. So really create a segment of one for marketing purposes. And this is not just whether it's a lifetime value prediction or a cross-sell prediction or a churn prediction. The use cases are multiple. Many of these use cases are already being handled by traditional machine learning models. But what Gen AI will do is make it much more personalized and much more sophisticated in terms of what it is able to create, right down to creating content that has been built bespoke for each individual person or customer. So we've spoken about customer experience. We've spoken about marketing. Another way I think Gen AI can help improve business growth is by automating a lot of processes. Things like mortgage approval, which takes weeks because a valuer has to visit the property, make an assessment, often a subjective assessment, and then report back to the head office. This whole process itself takes a week or two. Now, with the help of capabilities, image detection capabilities, assessment capabilities, just using photographs as an example or satellite imagery, the entire valuation of the property can be done completely remotely and in an automated way, thereby significantly reducing the turnaround time for even complex loans like a mortgage loan, which is probably one of the most time consuming when it comes to approval turnaround times in the retail bank. So it helps not just improve the customer experience, but also helps the bank grow its business, because with the same set of resources, they are able to process much more transactions than they were able to do previously. But going to the area of efficiency, so we've spoken about customer experience, we've spoken about business growth, but the third area which Gen AI can help is in improving the efficiencies of processes within the organization. And there are multiple processes. But one example that is that we have seen quite often when talking to customers is around helping the developer improve her productivity when dealing with developing new systems or new capabilities. And in the financial services world, one such area where there are frequent changes is the regulatory space. So regulators, whether they are RBI or SEBI or the insurance regulator for insurance companies, they often come with changes, enhancements in the regulations, and the regulated entities have to comply with it in a relatively short period of time. Now, traditionally, this process takes a fairly long development cycle because it involves writing the code, testing it, and making it go into production. But now, with the help of AI capabilities, code generation capabilities, the task of understanding the regulation, first of all, which itself can be a time-consuming process, generating code for it, and generating the test cases for these regulations can be done in a much more shorter time frame and in an automated way, thereby significantly reducing the time that it takes for a bank to comply with the regulation that has changed in the recent past. And this is a very good example of how efficiencies can be improved on the back of GenAI. Another area where GenAI can help improve efficiency is around early warning indicator. And this is very relevant for the larger loans that financial institutions give. And they need to monitor the progress of the loan vis-a-vis the disbursements that have been done or will be needed. Just as in the case of mortgage, even this monitoring requires somebody to today visit the site in person and assess whether the project has progressed, whether the funds have been deployed judiciously, and whether the project is on track or not. And because it requires an individual person to go, it is something that cannot be done on a continuous basis. It can only be done, let's say, once every 15 days or once every month. But now with AI capabilities, this assessment can be done on the basis of satellite imagery and AI models running on top of it to identify how the progress of a project has happened over any given time frame. So this is a very good example of how technology can be used to significantly reduce cost of maintaining the loan and also provide the institution with an early warning indicator if the project is likely to face delays or is not as per the schedule committed by the builder. The last use case, the last area that I want to talk about is in the area of fraud and security. Fraud, in fact, the entire financial crime is a big problem for financial institutions, whether it is fraud detection, whether it is transaction monitoring or anti-money laundering detection. There are models, there are systems available to detect fraud, but often these systems are based on historical data with very limited ability to ingest unstructured data or to do ingestion of data across multiple data sets. Now, with the help of GenAI, not only are financial institutions capable of ingesting a lot more of unstructured data, but are also able to derive patterns, whether it's a fraud ring or it's a money laundering ring, that were not visible to traditional machine learning models. And this has a direct impact on the banks or the financial institutions' bottom line, because it helps reduce losses and therefore improve profitability. But at another level, it also helps improve the reputation risk of that institution, which in turn helps it attract new business. And finally, a problem that is common to not just financial services, but I guess across industries, and that is the problem of cybersecurity. And how can Gen AI help identify new innovative threats that are being faced, and how can it fix itself? How can Gen AI help systems fix itself to address these new problems, reducing the threat of losses due to cyber security lapses? So in a very short time, this was just some examples of scenarios or use cases that Gen AI can make a transformative impact. Like I said at the beginning, this is not an exhaustive list. This is a very, very small subset. The actual list will probably run into hundreds and hundreds of use cases. What is important to realize is that the Gen AI brings to the table capabilities that will transform not just the examples that I have given, but many more examples and use cases that any financial institution will face. With that, I'll close my presentation. Thank you again for attending this session. Have a good day.